Hi, everybody. We're just here talking before the show, and now you're watching the show. Welcome to Moohead Radio. I'm your host, A Big Anthony Bovine. It is yet another Monday. I'm not going to do no Bangles references. Honest to God, I won't do it to you because I'm just that good. And it's amazing that Prince, I never heard Prince sing that song,
It's just another manic Monday.
Yeah, I know. And the idea of Prince writing it but not singing it is kind of a scary thing, So let's put the link up here.
Lancelot.
Okay. Chimpanzee reference. And
if you look at our Zoom chat, I posted the link.
Beauty. So let me go in and do that now. And so everybody knows exactly where we are. And I don't even know where we are, to tell you the truth. I have an idiot of the day. There was a competition today. All right.
Boy, was there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, and it's getting too easy to come up with your own. It used to be that it was, it was a competition, but it wasn't even close in the end. All right. And this is going to surprise the 4 people who are watching. It's nice to see that this is like way back time machine, the hot tub time machine, for Moohead Radio.
Yeah.
Back in the days when nobody watched it all. This is awesome. During these political times, I'm sorry, but I am polarizing. But what the hell? It was good for lenses. So why not me? Today's idiot of the day was a competition. All right. First, there was the retired U.S. Navy captain, Scott Bethman, accidentally streamed a conversation he was having with his wife, Nancy. Bethman and his wife were live on Facebook for more than 30 minutes and didn't know it, discussing recent events around the country. Now, this guy was on the U.S. Naval Academy Alumni Association board, all right? And they were discussing recent political events. And look, to be very honest with you, and I know it's polarizing and you shouldn't really be doing any of this where you think you can be heard, and I'm purposely doing it because I know I don't get heard. Bethman was heard using the N-word and complaining about not being able to speak his mind, saying, "The white motherfuckers can't say anything. That's the point we're making here, Nancy. We're making here." His wife is heard in the recording talking about fucking Asians from China who love to steal all of our intellectual property, all right? So I was thinking, all right, idiot who streams himself without knowing it on Facebook. I mean, I don't know. Streaming on Facebook is a multi-sequenced kind of thing. I don't know how you accidentally do it. He did, but he's nowhere near the winner because we're going to have to go to Tony's state of Minnesota.
Oh, God, that's a broad spectrum.
No, but look.
Does it narrow the field down any at all? Or
I
doubles the field.
I want to point something out here, and I think it's important for people to know. No true Democrat, all right, in their right mind would defund the police. All right, let's get this straight right off the bat.
Oh, I don't know. Don't get me going already. Don't get me going already.
It's true.
I mean, this is crazy shit. These are the idiots of the day. The people on the town board of Minneapolis, the city council, having this majority, 9 out of 13 people, to defund the police. And, I'll give you an example. That would be like saying, all right, here's the deal. There's a chance you could give birth to a child who has a genetic deficiency. So to prevent that from happening, we're going to kill all the babies. All right. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I'm sitting here going,
Margaret Sanger approves.
Yeah. It's like, let me get this straight. In a time in our history where more people are armed than ever before and buildings are burning, you're going to defund your source of maintaining law and order. Now, look, there are bad cops and there are good cops. There are bad doctors and there are good doctors. We don't ban and defund doctors just because a few aren't up to snuff. I honestly believe, and as a political centrist Democrat, that the police department should really look into some of the bad apples out there and do something to clean up their work, because there is a problem. All right. We can't ignore the problem. And there are many, many, many good police. And I've known in my lifetime guys who are really, really good cops. Rox is nodding her head because Rox has got connections to the police department. She's been arrested 6 times. No.
Oh,
Damn, you are profiling big time here.
and I have the documentation to prove it, right?
Jeez.
Oh
But,
boy.
you know, the truth is, though, I kid around.
Was Francis the talking mule your lawyer?
The most horrible thing that you can do is to tar everybody with one brush. And if you got bad cops, you got bad cops. I think it's up to the police department to stand up and rid the force of those people. And maybe they haven't not done a good enough job of that. They got to start. But defunding the entire police department.
We must restore balance to the force.
Yeah. And, you know, they're going to come up with, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, an innovative new concept of law enforcement called anarchy.
Yeah. Community based. Yeah. That I love when that fart I get rid of in an hour smells. It offends Karen and fucking Blaine. So I'll get fucking arrested because my shit stinks.
Well, we're not only that, I mean, it would be like the neighborhood watch is going to be everybody on cell phones with their cammers.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, on the upside, you know, you definitely won't be getting any visits from Joe Biden.
Joe Biden will sleep through it all. What the hell difference does that
Joe
make?
Biden could be in Minneapolis and he'd think he'd be in Phoenix, for God's sake.
Joe, a good day, they said a good day for Biden is when he goes up on the polls. No, it's when he has a regular bowel movement. And, you know, and
right into his backwards wearing depends.
And he's awake when it's happening. Those are the good days, folks.
The stars have all aligned.
I put my shoes on the right feet.
Yeah, it's like, are you going to wear the blue suit or the gray suit, Joe? Depends. Okay.
For him, TGIF means toes go in first.
This whole defund the police thing, man. It's just
I sense a disturbance in the force.
You're seeing the staunch difference between Moo's generation of Democrat, the Democrat family that I was raised under, if you know the name of Jim Oberstar, who was my uncle, congressman for fucking 35 years, and the new woke millennial Gen X. Oh, let's just go to the extreme of anything. Oh, Gen Z. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, we're up to Gen Z now. I don't know what comes next. Now,
Preparation H.
No, yeah.
I shall call it the Ellen Parsons Project.
Yeah, you know, in Alabama, well, what's after Z? Okay. It's a scary thing, but yeah, it's the whole thing's out of control, and somebody's got to, I don't know, somehow make some sense out of this whole
fucking
thing.
Start gunning people down.
Well, I wanted to make sure that people knew that yes, Democrats can definitely be idiots, and I am not about to be relating to people like this. This is just stupidity. The NFL has announced their proposed safety protocols for players' return to their team facilities. Now, it's really
26th.
Yes, safety protocols in the NFL. Who'd have thunk? When there's money on the line, God damn it, there's safety. Here's some of the highlights. The locker rooms are reconfigured to permit people being 6 feet apart. Meetings must be conducted virtually when possible, which has been happening in Cleveland literally for decades.
Yeah, since '99 anyway.
They haven't even been required, meetings. Helmet shoulder pads disinfected after each game. Well, this is really stupid. So somebody spits on your shoulder pads or in your helmet or whatever. Disinfecting it after the game doesn't matter, Boom, I got your tackle. I got your guard. Yeah, that's going to be a way to knock teams' rosters down. They're going to find a way to make an exception on the 53-man roster somehow to save money for the owners of the sporting teams. Masks required except when they're interfering with athletic activities, like breathing.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to get.
Like working out in 98-degree heat.
This is, all right, here we go. The little audio thing, the microphone they have. And then you'll see Baker Mayfield going, and I think he's trying to audibilize. And James looked at it and it's like, what is this, back to Freddie Kitchens again?
Wait a minute, I think I just heard the word shovel pass.
What a scary thought. Freddie Kitchens in your helmet. There's Folgers in your cup, and there's Freddie in your helmet. I cannot imagine. It's like,
I can think of worse places, so.
Well, I'll tell you what I want you to do, Baker. Run, Forrest, run. Yeah. Sad thing. The NFL is, these are the basic things to look good and not to do anything.
The offensive lineman going to line up 6 feet apart on each play?
Going
to be a lot of zone blocking, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I sense a zone block here.
For those who aren't subscribed to the Cleveland Browns YouTube channel, you got to watch the Building the Browns when they're actually allowed to go back into the building and all the bullshit that they have to do.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
And there's only 75 people allowed between the stadium and Berea. Total.
Wow.
And you're supposed to have 90 fucking players soon.
First, you got to find somebody who can count to 75 first.
I would be remiss if I didn't share you the most recent information here from my glorious state of Florida. This is side by side, the same number of tests basically for Manatee County and Sarasota County. The difference is that we have almost twice as many positive cases. And they've opened up, what do they call, phase 2 of the reopening of Florida. And it's supposed to be under 5%, but here we are at 5.2%. And here you see Sarasota right below us is 3%. So, we have an infectious rate that is a positive rate that is higher than other areas. And that's what keeps me pretty much inside, folks. That and the 104-degree heat index outside. That'll sway me too.
Sweat on your asshole.
Yeah, I mean, it's and the whole state, if you're wondering about the whole state, there you go. I mean, I don't know. If you look at it from here where my little thing is, this is when they said, okay, we're opening up. And it's like, well, it's not gotten any better now, has it? In fact, it was going down before, and then bing, Florida is one of the leading states in the country for increased coronavirus positive cases. So do I think that coronavirus...
Hey, at least your death rate's going down.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, and the amazing thing is that Bill Masterson is still alive. I have sent him to New York. I sent him to New Orleans during Mardi Gras. I sent him to an old folks home early on in Washington State. The son of a bitch just won't die.
I think I saw him on a plane to Ghana the other day.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
why are you
indestructible.
assigning me?
Ebola, I'm there.
Why South Korea? Yeah, he's trying to figure it out. But at any rate, be that as it may, Yeah, be that as it may, things are going on in the world, and some areas are safer than others. The San Antonio Spurs might be happy that they've made this 22-team playoff thing, but LaMarcus Aldridge is going to miss the whole shebang. He had surgery on his right shoulder, and the procedure was done on April the 24th, and he ain't going nowhere. He injured it on February the 21st against Utah. He played in the Spurs' next game, then went on to miss the next 6. This is a huge blow in the 22-team cheesy playoff scheme, and Greg Popovich basically is going to have to prove that he's the greatest coach in the world to get out of the first round.
If he has enough time when he's not prostrating to Black Lives Matter or whoever.
Somebody posted something and it was funny, and it said, "Here are things I never want to hear again." And a lot of them were things like new normal, the expressions that we keep hearing in the media over and over and over again. And, I came up with a bunch of them that irritated people. So I'm not going to mention what they are, but if you want to find out, go to my Facebook, look up me, and you can see what things. One of them was, "Thank you for your service." And it really irritated a bunch of people. And it's like, well, then why don't you give these people health care? They protected your lives. All you want to do is give them lip service. Give them health care, Fucking PTSD is a real thing, man. This isn't no fake thing. And that's the other thing. I don't want to hear the word fake ever again. Unless you can absolutely prove to me that something is real, I don't want to hear the word fake ever again in conjunction with the news, in conjunction with teeth, or whatever. I don't want to.
How about shit from Shinola?
Yeah. Fake this, fake that,
And there ends the
That's
party.
Shinola. This is the real shit, though.
Now, Major League Baseball is coming up with a 76-game season proposal. Woohoo! Of course, the players and officials at the Players Association scoffed at the proposal, continuing the gridlock. All right. The proposal includes potential earnings that would cover up to 75% of the players' prorated salaries over a 76-game season, about $1.432 billion in total compensation. Of that, $989 million would be in straight salary, $443 million in money paid if the playoffs were to take place. Now, is this really stupid? I'm sitting here talking about $1.432 billion, and 25% of you out there don't even have a fucking job. Do you really care? There's fucking baseball. I mean, come on.
I don't give a fuck.
I mean, and you had a good situation in Minnesota,
Yeah.
One thing they're never going to say, man, the Twins are on fire.
Well, you might.
Well, we came close last week. Target Field almost went up.
Yeah. I mean, that's one expression that's going to be dropped forever. Right. So we're no closer to baseball. And yeah, I think that we're going to miss the season completely. I don't see what's going to change,
Right.
And I think that for the owners at this point, they want to see if they can break the union. And for the union, they want to prove that they can break the owners. And that's what you call a Mexican standoff. And no, that's not racist. That is an expression. And I don't even know where it came from. Where did Mexican standoff come from?
You're going to find out it's racist. I'll look it up.
Oh, boy.
Intrepid reporter Roxanne is on.
Little Miss Google fingers. Yeah. Oh my God.
Doing those
Yeah.
co-hosting.
Miss Tessmacher.
At any rate, I don't know where that expression came from, but we'll find out. All right. But the Major League Baseball Association, as far as the union is concerned, the owners for the longest time have wanted to go back to the good old days when the greatest home run hitter of all time, Hank Aaron, was barely making $100,000 a year. So, I mean, that's what the owners really want. And the players, of course, they want to all be A-Rod, 252 million, please.
Right.
Even when I'm old and can no longer play, thank you. That would be nice. Can you believe it's been since 1966 since the union was there? And do you remember? Let's say, Rick, tell us the first free agent in baseball.
Keep thinking it's Andy Messersmith.
That's right, Andy Messersmith. I think he was an Angel, wasn't he?
Well, in some people's eyes, not necessarily others. But
well, Rox, what did you find out?
Yeah, I think because everyone remembers, Kurt Flood was,
the one.
Yeah, that was in '82.
He never was able to take advantage, though. He was the one who stepped up and brought it to the courts and was blackballed after that. He was the Colin Kaepernick of that generation. Yeah. I mean, he took the brunt of all of it.
Without the communism.
Look, believe me, Rox, in today's internet, if it's not politically or racist and, insensitive, I mean, you would have come up with something by now.
Oh, I put it in the chat, but I looked up the etymology. The expression came into use during the last decade of the 19th century. Cambridge Advanced Learner's Dictionary makes an unattributed claim that the term is of Australian origin. Other sources claim that it is to the Mexican-American War or post-war Mexican bandits of the 19th century. Do not use that term. Mexicans may just find that offensive.
Why? Because Australians said, what was it, the stubbornness of them? That, what was it? The banditos fighting each other off? I don't understand. What was the reference? Why was it a Mexican standoff a tie?
I'll have to keep researching that.
Yeah, I mean,
inquiring minds want to know.
It would be like if the darker Mexicans were somehow insinuated to have been lesser than the lighter Mexicans, but that's not the case.
Actually, yes. Yes, because the darker ones were the ones that actually mated with the Aztecs, which is why they have square jaws and darker pigment.
Okay, so it may be more specifically.
The whiter ones are considered of true Spanish descent.
All right, go ahead, Rox.
Concerning that term, it may be more specifically implying cowardly or unproductive, or perhaps a reference to an event during the Mexican-American War. So that
we don't know
why it would be
I haven't heard it
offensive.
It's possibly. I mean, I haven't heard it's not like I hear announcers on television go, well, that's a real Mexican standoff, It's like, I don't know. But it's a tie. It is what would
I'm sure we could get Dan Fouts to say it.
No, Ross Perot would say, gridlock.
Be a draw.
No, Dan Fouts.
Be a draw.
Yeah. Dan Fouts. And who was it? The NBA announcer for the Sacramento Kings got shit canned. Yeah, because
did they even have an announcer?
Yes, but not a team. It was a very strange circumstance.
If you find those 5 viewers, I'll bet they'll concur. I mean,
no, it was what he
brothers
tweeted.
Continue to cut corners as they get rid of, pretty much everybody. You might have to find a concession person, and that's it.
He was tweeting and
use the bathrooms at your own risk.
No, he basically said he responded to Black Lives Matter to All Lives Matter, and then the whole thing got into a little political thing, and you just can't do that now if you're employed. I'm not employed, so I can get away with this shit,
Well, that was one thing that I tried to get through to Mac Wilson, who posted on Twitter about supporting Black Lives Matter, and it's like, dude, you have to support either all Black Lives Matter or none. You can't let them cherry pick who matters and who doesn't.
Well, all life matters. It's what people make of it. I mean, but we have laws that can make sure that people go away for a long time or are put to death. I mean, that is, part of the way we've done it for a long time. I'm personally have always been against the death penalty, just because of the uncertainty of the guilt of somebody. I mean, to me, the worst of all things would be if one innocent man was executed. That would be like the worst thing.
Why do you think
so-
these guys are spending 25 years on death row, 30 years on death row?
Yeah, but I mean, actually, be kind of, that would be draining in and of itself. Do you know how many last dinners this has been for me? Ring, you son of a bitch, ring. Yeah. No phone call. Then it was your last.
And it costs
dinner.
$55,000 a year to house one. And
Yeah,
think
well,
about how many are on death row.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, there are things that people have done that, I mean, I have been moved to say, if you off this guy, it wouldn't really bother me. But I can't honestly say that and be even keeled about all of this stuff. Shaquille O'Neal is urging the Saints to stay unified after the Drew Brees comments. It's just keep it between the team and the quarterback. Okay. We don't need any more of this. The whole media thing is ridiculous. I have been reading the dumbest stuff. It's like the media is whipping this whole thing up. All right. And that's basically what Shaq is doing. Listen to this. They're going to try to divide you, the media, just like they divided us with the Lakers. Me and Kobe, we had a great thing going, but the media divided our team. We could have won 5 more championships. All right, so you're blaming the media because the two of you could not sit down in the same fucking room and get your shit together?
Yeah, this was from How Does My Ass Taste?
Yeah.
How does my ass taste when he's at the fucking New York club?
Yeah, I mean, it really, everybody is just kind of.
And when he was, also when he was being fucking interviewed, and they asked him about, I think it was Ahmad Rashad or some puff piece, asked him about leaving, and he said, well, it looks like they're going to be going with Kobe because he's the future, or whatever that means. It's like, okay.
Clear as a bell.
You've already got 10 years on those legs, man. I don't know how long you're going to be able to play.
Yeah, and now, of course, Kobe's dead and can't say, you fucking douchebag. It wasn't the media, it was you. Actually, it was both of them. And the fact is they both had gigantic egos and they couldn't put it aside to win those 5 more championships. That's the bottom line. And the Lakers would have kept, them together for a longer period of time had it not been for this childish behavior. I'm sick of the media being blamed for this kind of stuff. You got to be strong about this kind of thing. And another thing that irritates me is this. The guy, Jarrell Casey, he was an all-pro player for the Broncos. Well, he is now, but he was a Tennessee Titan. That he claims that the Titans discarded me like trash because they just got rid of him for a 7th-round pick because he's gotten a little old, He's pissed off because he played for a 2-14 team, and right when they started to get good, he played 1 year for him, and then they got rid of him and done. All right. He was a 2nd-team All-Pro in 2013. He signed a 4-year, $60 million deal in 2017. The AFC Championship game last season, but they decided to clear $11 million in cap space by trading him to the Broncos for a 7th-round pick. Now, why is it important to be screaming about that? You're getting paid. So you're going to play in Denver instead of playing in Tennessee. Neither team's going to win the Super Bowl. And the fact is, when you're an employee, basically, and you get old in football or older in football, then you're going to be replaceable. He said he was working out when he got a call from his agent that the Titans were shopping him. He was disappointed he didn't hear the news directly from the team. By the way, the Titans opened the season with a trip to Denver to face Casey and the Broncos, so he has a chance. And that's the time that you really do your talking. Do your talking on the field. I get tired of all this, you know. What about Joe Thomas? You know, it could be a whole lot worse. He didn't even have one good season. He never got to an AFC championship game. Joe Thomas never got shit.
No, they won 10 games. The one time, and then that was the high point.
Wasn't that Derek Anderson?
Yeah, was it
Derek
2007?
Yeah.
07. Yeah. And
Braylon Edwards.
Yeah, and nobody believed that a Michigan wide receiver who dropped a lot of passes and Derek Anderson, who threw the ball 100 miles an hour on screen passes, was going to be seriously, involved deeply in the playoffs. Joe Thomas waited his whole life.
One story I would like to bring up, and it's right in your backyard, Moo, is Ray Shea Caldwell was killed right outside of his house.
Yeah, Tampa.
A 41-year-old receiver.
Yeah, he'd been in the league for about 7 years, from what I recall. And it's a sad.
Played for 3 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he was a household name, but when you have professional athletes in the general area, we actually have had a few here. Former backup Browns quarterback Ken Dorsey used to live right here, and it was funny. He got a job in coaching, and so he left the area, but he was going to appear from my house on the show. He and I got to know each other, and he was really a good guy. He was, he just.
He's another one that came into the league with a hurt arm.
Ken Dorsey.
He got hurt in the national title game, and then it never got any better.
Yeah, the weak arm followed him around, but what he really wanted to talk about was what was really going on inside the Browns organization back then, and it was frightful. I mean, when you talk to somebody who's closely involved and employed by people, and the dysfunction was just dripping. It was, I would have really wanted him to be on the program, and he was willing to do it. But lo and behold, he got a job. And I'm trying to remember what job he got that pulled him away. But it's probably in his wiki page.
Yeah, do you guys remember the name Ben Lieber?
Ben Lieber?
Ben Lieber.
No.
Is a middle linebacker for the Chargers and the Vikings for 10 years. He's actually my next door neighbor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We talk football all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. The person who was closest to me, and I've forgotten his name now, was the NBA official who was corrupt.
Tim Donaghy.
Donaghy lived right down the road, just down the road. And him I didn't want to talk to.
Dorsey is now a quarterbacks coach for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he got a job coaching. I knew that. And, he couldn't turn that down to be on my show, Like, no, hold it a minute.
I got to be on Moohead Radio.
Yeah, I made a promise to the guy with 4 listeners,
What did you say you were paying? Yeah.
This was probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever had to witness. ESPN has just reached the dregs as far as what they're showing on the air. They've just run out of content. And now they ran a little a Bruce Lee documentary. And the question is, could Bruce Lee win a real fight?
He was a real street fighter in Hong Kong, like gang fighting in the streets.
Here's the deal. I mean, first of all, what the fuck does it matter? All right, because Bruce Lee was not in a prize ring. Bruce Lee became an icon based on a couple of movies that he did. His life ended early. And he was part of a discipline that was a specific discipline that he himself had to break himself away from because it was exposed as being a little limited. So he started diversifying his techniques. Could he win a real fight? Could Jean-Claude Van Damme win a real fight? I mean,
I don't know. You'd have to go back and look at his record because he was a professional fighter.
I mean, to me, Jean-Claude Van Damme was the finest choreographed action guy in the martial arts thing. I mean, he was limber. He was the split that he would do was just unbelievable. I mean, he really was graceful. He was a dancer, but he would have gotten the shit kicked out of him. He'd have been wearing makeup, looking good. He would have gotten the shit kicked out of him.
Are we
And
talking
Bruce,
like an MMA fight, or was talking a straight up fight? Because
no,
MMA,
they're talking about a real, they're saying like, how would Bruce Lee do against Conor McGregor? That's what they're talking about.
it's Kimbo Slice 2.0. He'd get his fucking ass kicked.
Well, I mean, the
Remember,
thing
Kimbo was a huge street fighter, one of the best street fighters you've ever seen. And how do you do in MMA?
McGregor just posted that he's retired again. Wink, wink.
For the 74,000th time.
Yeah, yeah.
Who
Mayweather
is?
says he comes
Conor
back and
McGregor.
go whip him.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck Conor McGregor. He's a goof. But you see, in the end, what does it matter? Because we were watching Enter the Dragon and things of that nature and still watch that stuff because of his charisma. The man was 5'8" and like 140 pounds. And the mythology takes over. You know, what was it he did? Was it like a 4-inch punch or some such thing? And the claim was that a 1-inch punch. Thank you.
Punch.
And that it would make somebody fly 6 to 8 feet backwards. I mean, you know, it's those types of things that are like Babe Ruth calling his shot, right? I mean, we're not going to ever know whether it really happened or not. And again, I don't think it really matters because Bruce Lee was incredibly charismatic and he brought a whole genre of fighting to the motion picture industry. He himself, if you know anything about him, was just driven to protect his own marketability. So Bruce Lee could not be entrusted telling the truth about Bruce Lee because he was busy formulating a mythology. And there are a lot of people, Bob Dylan, for fucking Christ's sake, created his own mythology. You know, hey, let me go with Woody Guthrie when he's dying of a disease, you know, and then people will relate me to Woody Guthrie, you know. Woody's like all wiped out in the fucking hospital dying, and there's Bob Dylan. He's like, what the fuck are you? You know, but people do this. It's marketing. And Bruce Lee was good at it. Kobe Bryant did it. LeBron James does it. They all, except Bruce Lee was an earlier guy, and he was Asian. And therein lies the horrible part, again, that we can't get out of our way from racial stuff. Those people who say that Bruce Lee would have gotten his ass kicked in an MMA fight, they're racist because they're belittling him because he's Asian. And those people who say, oh yeah, he'd have come in and done the 1-inch punch and blown these people right out of the ring, they're people who've bought into the mythology, and the truth probably lies somewhere in between. Could he win a real fight? It depends who you put him in the ring with. You know, it's like, that would be like asking if a guy could win a professional boxing match and he was an amateur fighter. And I go, well, sure he could, but yeah, you wouldn't put him in with Floyd Mayweather. Well, you know.
Well, and to put it into boxing terms, you wouldn't put Michael Carvajal in with Mike Tyson.
Right. Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean,
you're not going to put a 147-pound guy against a fucking 220-pound guy.
No. And the thing that it is automatically a division-oriented thing because, you know, what people take their side on this and that's it. And And the whole thing just doesn't matter. I mean, meanwhile, Chuck Norris. Could Chuck Norris win a fight? Nobody even asked that. Could Chuck Norris really win a real fight? Or
He was in the fucking ring for 15 years.
yeah, I mean, but
He won all kinds of titles for kickboxing.
back in his day, he would get his ass kicked. Him in his prime would get his ass kicked today because they've refined the technique to such a degree and the conditioning is so much better. They did in this documentary state that Bruce Lee did have an actual fight with a person and there was no clear decision in the fight, but that Bruce Lee was literally exhausted after the fight. And that's when he decided to change disciplines because he realized that he was overtraining in one way, but that he was from a, aerobic capacity was lacking. And I don't care. I don't care how good of a fighter you are. If you can't breathe, you're not going to win. The whole thing is just crazy. But at any rate,
he did actually fight a guy from China that some other masters had brought in. And the guy basically, he ran around a lot and ended up wearing both of them out by making him chase him all over the place.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I mean, if you have a guy who's, basically riding you on the mat for God knows how long and, and just hammering you, being on top is a lot easier than being the bottom guy. It's true in wrestling. It's true in MMA. And, you'd have to have musculature and aerobic capacity out the yay in order to be able to survive. And I never liked this whole notion. I mean, Bruce Lee is iconic like James Dean. Could James Dean have won the Indianapolis 500? I mean, well, he liked to drive fast cars,
The guy he fought was Wong Jack Man.
You're right. That's right. And it resulted in a kind of a no decision scenario with Bruce Lee exhausted. And who knows who that guy was, whether he was good, whether he was not good. Back then, it wasn't an organized sport. So it wasn't like they had ratings. But I just find it interesting that people will immediately come to his rescue because they're Asians and the other people will belittle him by saying, he could never. And the bottom line is that, look, he was in movies. By the end, he was in a movie with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I don't think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar could win anything in a ring either. So
that was one of his students.
Yes. I mean,
he helped train Chuck Norris, and he had a bunch of celebrity people coming to his LA home for private lessons.
And you want to know what was interesting? The guy who used to be tight with him, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he ended up being the manager and trainer of Ronda Rousey, right? And he said Rousey could have kicked Bruce Lee's ass in a real fight. So, nothing good comes of this shit. Ronda Rousey could, I can't even begin to speak about that. I mean, God, she made Mike Tyson look indestructible. What can I tell you? That's stupid. I wanted to point out that this was an important date in Cleveland Indians history, Rick. And let's see if you know the historical significance of today.
Let's see.
I'll give you a hint.
When large Lenny Barker?
No. This is a trade that the Indians made.
Oh, the Killer Keen for Calavito?
No, this would be even more tongue-in-cheek than that.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Is this when they traded Rocky Calavito?
No.
Or was that in the off season?
No. Let's see if I can give you the year. June 7th, 2002, guys.
2002. Oh, 2002.
I'll even tell you the setup on this. The Indians were not convinced that they would be able to re-sign Jim Thome, so they needed to restock their talent at first base. So the deal was made.
Richie Sexton?
No, but that would be kind of fun. That was too long before that. Yeah.
Not Paul Sereno.
No, the cheese guy. No.
Uh,
Oh, that's Sargento. I'm sorry.
That close.
This will tell you when they're writing about this in the media, they have nothing to talk about.
David DeLucci? No, he was a right fielder.
Oh, that's not a bad
Not
guess,
close
actually.
enough. That's pretty close to first base.
No.
No, I think DeLucci was still on the. I think he was still on the Diamondbacks then in
All right, so
2002.
here's your next clue, Rick.
All right.
The trade was with the Seattle Mariners in a swap of outfielder / first baseman.
Outfielders. Probably rule out Griffey,
Yeah,
Ichiro,
that's
Jay
a hunch.
Buhner.
We're talking about low-tier players. We're talking about a player who the Indians coveted for a long, long time.
It's
Way too long a time. All right, Rick, I'll give you one more hint.
too soon for Chisenhall.
Yep.
Yeah, just runs an outfielder.
By 2002, who struck out 41% of the time he was at home plate for his major league career?
Russell Branion.
There you go.
Damn it.
Amen. Who was he traded for, Rick?
Bag of beach balls for all I care. Oh, geez. I'm sure we gave up somebody a lot better than Russell Branion. So
No. We traded Russell Branion.
not soon enough.
Who did we get? First baseman.
Couldn't be Eddie Murray. He was on the 90s teams.
And not Eddie
Oh.
Murphy, because he wasn't playing in the league.
Tony already said Richie Sexton, and I thought that might have been him because I thought he played on the Mariners there at one
Well,
time.
Sexton ended up on the Diamondbacks for a little while too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess this
Well,
is it.
Stump
is
the
it.
band here.
Yeah, we stumped the panel. Ben Broussard.
Oh, God.
I know. Now, it's incredible to think that this merits a place in Cleveland Indians history. Broussard played for Cincinnati. Well, he was the second-round pick from McNeese State. But he was buried behind former Indian Sean Casey. You remember him.
The mayor.
And Adam Swing It Air Dunn. They called him Adam 3 and Dunn. Our commitment to Russell was further down the road than 161 at bats. Shapiro, who calls himself Shapiro, told Paul Hoynes of the Plain Dealer, but the inconsistency of our team's offense, compounded with Russell's inconsistency, wouldn't allow us to be more patient. That's right. Brandon only had 161 at bats by the time he was done that season. In 711 big league at bats with the Indians, he struck out 294 times, 41%. He hit 45 home runs, but nobody cared about the 3-run bomb back then. If you're wondering whatever happened to Russell Branion, they defunded him. No. Branion.
He's running a Chick-fil-A somewhere.
Branion went on to average about 16 home runs and 37.
Well, in
ribbies.
Seattle, he could be a barista at fucking Starbucks or something.
For 10 seasons, batting .232 during stops in Milwaukee, Tampa, San Diego, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Seattle, Arizona, and Los Angeles. Pack your bags. Guess where you're going, Russell?
Sounds like Rob Deere.
Yeah, jeez.
Yep. Meanwhile, Ben Broussard spent 5 long, grueling seasons in Cleveland, batting a .268 with an .801 OPS. He was batting .321 with 13 home runs through 88 games in 2006 when the Indians sent him to Seattle for who?
Fraser Crane.
What the hell is a Fraser Crane?
TV show with Kelsey Grammer.
I know Kelsey Grammer.
Niles?
No, this was actually a good deal. We actually, so in the end, the Indians
Omar?
won.
Oh, wait, no.
No.
Outfielder, wasn't it?
2006, yes, it was.
Shin-Soo Choo.
That's right.
Eh,
So, who is a real major league player, by golly.
Yeah.
So we got Shin-Soo Choo for Ben Broussard.
mhm.
And meanwhile, that was the year Tomey signed the $85 million deal to follow Charlie Manuel and his stuttering ass to Philadelphia. So, this date in Cleveland Indians history.
And you were there.
And one last thing here, Lindor or Vizquel in Game 7 of a World Series if you had your choice. You know, they both played in the Game 7 of the World Series, so what the hell difference does it make? Lindor was 0 for and Vizquel was 1 for. And one was 0 for 5, one was 1 for 5. And who do you like better, Lindor or Vizquel? And the fact of the matter is Lindor's a much more productive hitter and Vizquel's a much better
Defender.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, who would you rather have in Game 7? You know, to me, I'd rather, I guess, have Lindor because in today's game, you know, with the strike zone.
Although to limit somebody's runs or stolen bases could come in handy.
Yeah, you know, in Game 7, you know what it comes down to? If I have a choice between Omar and Lindor,
I think Omar was also a better sack guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the strike zone, the way they call for pitching, it's going to be Game 7 is going to be a low-scoring game, and you want, if the guy makes a mistake, you want somebody who can hit it out of the park. You know, you're not going to get 3 hits in a run and squeeze a run through that way. You know, Vizquel was not going to crack something out of the park on a mistake. Lindor definitely would. So that's why I would pick him. I mean, it's a foolish question to begin with, but you know.
It's what we do.
Yeah. I'm looking to see if there's anything else to even talk about today. Oh.
Is there anybody from the men's side going to play in the U.S. Open? The tennis tournament?
Is anybody from the men's side going to do what?
Yeah, Djokovic and possibly Federer and Nadal said they may not play because of all the hoops, I guess, they have to jump through just to play over there at the U.S. Open.
Believe me, between Djokovic and Federer, the money that they make, honest to God, they don't have to jump through any hoops, you know? So it would be a good opportunity for a new name to come out. You know, no Nadal, no, you know, let's get some new people into this. And I think I was reading that Coco Gauff said she didn't want to play on the women's side. So I don't know. It does make you wonder. And tennis, you know, I don't know. I never wanted anyone touching my balls while I played to begin with, but now especially it's particularly difficult.
Roxanne, stay off the court.
Hey, that's uncalled for. So Roxanne
Did you ever
said,
find it annoying when that guy would come up with a little stencil and put pen on your balls?
no, actually, Rox has agreed to drive the golf cart for me when I finally get out and golf, which God only knows when it's going to be. But the course is wide open because it's 104 degrees outside. And it's like
they're not lining up at the cash register to get out there. Huh?
Fucking playing on Saturn, you know, it's like, but she said she would drive me in the cart. And, you know, one of the things is,
well, if it gets too hot, Rox, you can always let him ride the alligator.
I need luck on a golf course. And Rox said that she would kiss
Andrew?
my balls. No. She said she would kiss my balls, you know, before each round in the hopes that it would stiffen my putter. you know, so I really be able to lower my score.
Yeah. Who needs a beer
You
card
guys
after
just
that?
go too far.
What?
Trying to make the 7-wood become a 3-wood.
Yeah, I mean, geez. I mean, it's.
I mean, the end goal of the game is to put the ball in the hole anyway. So
That's exactly right. I mean, you know, it's like, and they won't let. Do you know one of the rules they're saying on the golf course? You have to putt with the flag in. They
yeah,
want
no,
people
because they've
handling
got
the flag.
they've got the lifted cup. I just golfed the other day. It's a lifted cup, so as long
Yeah.
as you hit the thing, it's considered a
made putt.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you have to just reach in around and fumble with the ball, but you're not allowed to pull the flag out. And needless to say, you can't high five.
Well, then it's a good thing you've dropped all that weight, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's easier for the reach around.
Honest to God, what they've done with golf, I mean, they're sanitizing the carts, 2 in a cart only if you're from the same household. So you'll kill one another, but not somebody who's unprepared, you know.
Right.
There's a whole series of things. And I do want to get out and golf, but honestly, at 104-degree weather, it's kind of.
Yeah, it's 103 here in Minneapolis today, and
Are you kidding?
I stepped out to.
We're actually down.
Are you
from
sure that's
our
not
normal?
Is your building on fire, Tony?
No, that's just my. No, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
The microwave
No.
temperature.
Right now it's
Oh.
sunny and 87 outside.
Yeah,
so.
when I went to the dental implant place today, I looked at my car thing and it said 103, and I almost shit my pants.
Yeah, here we're down to 86 right now, but but it feels like it's 96. The dew point's still at 77 degrees here.
Ours is 12.
Get this, the humidity
is 6%.
Yeah, and here the humidity is 74% on top of 86 degrees.
That's what you get for living on the Gulf.
Oh, you got that? No, there's no good place, you know?
Your sweat is sweating. Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, they used to say that the most humid place in Florida was Key West. But when all the gay people moved there with all the blowjobs, it cooled off. No. Am I allowed to say that?
No, you can say prevailing westerlies and then just move on from there.
Prevailing.
I am in trouble. I am looking at Rox's face and I am in trouble. Oh dear. No, but they did say seriously that back years ago, 75-degree Madonna Parada. They said 75-degree dew point temperatures in Key West made it the most humid spot in Florida. We're regularly now 77, 79, 80. It went up to 81 dew point temperature last summer. So it's all getting worse down here. And I just had the damn lanai, the pavers, shot with water, because the plants grow through the paver bricks.
Yes.
They're back. I mean, we're in a tropical climate, subtropical climate. I mean, this is like the rainforest growing in, around my pool. It's just ridiculous.
Which would explain the alligator.
Don't go there.
And the algae.
Are the eggs still there, Rox?
Don't think I've been back out there again.
There were eggs. Something laid eggs back there.
And there were some that were hatched and some that were not yet hatched.
No.
Uh-oh.
Anything resembling pterodactyls or?
Yeah, things that fly.
No, these are quadrupeds.
Yeah, God Almighty! But
with really sharp teeth.
And they were laid behind a shrub.
Yeah, that's.
Shrubbery?
I told you not to get topaz from
nest.
Area 51 now.
No, I mean, that dog don't go outside unless he's on a leash. He goes out the front door. And, but yeah, the back door is butts up against a body of water back there. And gators are sometimes there. And I think that, this is gator mating season. Yeah. And
You might want to. It might be time to ask the HOA if you can put some chain link fence a few feet down.
Well, no, I mean, I was pissed off because, it gets to be a drag. May starts the official mating season of alligators in Florida. And night after night after night, how many alligator orgasms can you hear? It just keeps you up at night, and it's really horrible.
And then you realized it was rocks.
It's such a racket, such a racket. It's the gate. There's a reptile coming. I'm out of here. Everybody, thanks a lot for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. I love each and every one of you. We'll be back again on Friday, and we're still waiting for sports to begin. Boxing is ready to begin. So, maybe we'll talk about whatever they show on television that's not about Bruce Lee. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.